Hey guys, how's it going? After a splendid round 1 race back in Australia, it's time for round 2 of the championship. And that means it's time for Milky Cereal to become Chief Track Analyst Milky Cereal as we head to Brazil, Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for the second round of the season. And time to find all those little nooks and crannies and places where you can gain those little tenths to turn your lap from an okay lap into a good or maybe even great lap. Let's jump right on in here at Brazil. You want to keep your car all the way over to the right hand side of the track, and when you brake, you want to be braking right here at the 50-meter marker board. Now, braking in for turn 1 is tricky to say the least. You want to be getting a nice trail braking all the way down right up to pretty much here. At the apex of turn 1, you're going to be down in third gear, and your objective is you want to keep the car to the left as much as possible because you can see the sweeping center S's right in front of you, and it's important to keep your car to the left so you can get as good of a run as you can all the way down that second DRS straight. So as we keep on rolling up to fourth gear, and you can see how much curb we're using through the right hander of turn 2. We're pretty much all the way over, almost risking an invalidation. As we keep moving forward, you want to use up all of the curb on exit, and as we make our way through turn 3 Curva do Sol, look how far our car is to the left-hand side of the track. You don't want to be letting your car out to the right. It's unnecessary. You're not really, gaining any time. You're not really inhibiting the car's momentum by keeping the car to the left-hand side of the track. So open up the DRS and now slowly allow your car to pull over to the right-hand side. And you want to be braking. You can see this little patch of tarmac on the right, and you want to be braking pretty much at the end of it, at around about 70 meters or so, give or take. And you want to be dropping it down to either fourth or fifth gear, getting right up onto the curb. As you can see, maybe we could have taken even more. I think we're pretty much as far over as we can. Now, sometimes you want to be in fourth gear, sometimes you want to be in fifth gear. To be honest, it's entirely dependent on the driver. If you don't feel like you're carrying enough speed for fifth gear, then fourth gear is probably better. But maybe this is a good target to give yourself. See if you can carry enough speed to make fifth gear the better gear for turn 4, which also very nicely known as Descida do Lago. Now, on corner exit, we're going to use up all of the curb on the exit. We're almost risking an invalidation, and that's key here at Brazil. You have to have confidence pretty much at every circuit, but Brazil especially so. Now, through the left-hander of turn 5, we're going to hold the car all the way over to the left. You can see our car's positioning. You can see how much space we have to the right. Now, in the race, you might want to let the car all the way out, but we're talking about a hot lap here, how to maximize that qualifying performance. So you want to keep the car all the way to the left. Whether you want to do this in the race is up to you. Now, as we approach turn 6, it's so difficult, and you want to be turning in really late after the 50-meter board, and you want to be trail braking all the way through. This isn't a standard brake in a straight line, turn, get the power back on. You want to be turning, braking at the same time. You're dropping it down into 6th. We don't go up into 8th on corner approach. And as we roll forward a bit, you can see that we're pretty much just touching the curb, 6th gear through the right-hander. We let the car out again, and then we pull it back over again, right up onto the curb on apex. And as we make our way on corner exit, we're using up all of the curb. And this is where you want the car to be positioned as you brake into one of the slowest corners on the circuit. You're dropping it down into 3rd gear again. Look at how much curb we're taking into this right-hander. You'd think that this is an invalidation, but not really. The entire car is placed firmly on the curb, and this just allows you to open up the steering as early as possible. We don't short shift up to 5th as you make your way through the Pinheirino. We're going to short shift up to 4th, but you can see that we've run wide just a tiny bit. You don't want to run this wide. This was just a little mistake we made. Got a little bit too greedy either way. The rest of this lap is pretty much flawless in terms of braking points and racing lines, which is why we're going with this anyway. So you want to short shift up to 4th, get on the power, and let the car all the way out on a corner exit onto this curb. It's very easy to lose the rear end on the exit of this left hand, and that's why it's important to short shift up to 4th, to let the car out all the way onto this curb, just so that you can get onto the power as early as possible with minimal chance of losing the rear. Now, you want to be braking in a diagonal line, as you can see, back over to the left-hand side of the track. Now, if we just pause here, you can see that there's still a little bit of space on the left-hand side. You want to be using all of that track. It's nearly impossible to get a perfect lap, really, unless you are esports caliber. But this is that little bit of extra time that we could be finding. We're then going to drop it down into third gear, corner apex, short shift back up to fourth. You can see that we're now in fourth gear as we make our way through what is, I think, the actual slowest corner on the circuit. And then get back on the power on corner exit. You shouldn't really lose the rear end here. Through the left-hander, you can see that we're placed all the way on to the left. This corner is completely flat. Now, this is one of the most important corners of the circuit. The final corner, Juncao, or what is effectively the final corner, the last breaking point of the circuit, Juncao. And look at our car's positioning. We're on this AstroTurf. This is so critical. And for anyone who wants to do well at a Brazilian Grand Prix, who wants to do well at a Brazil League race, if you can learn how to brake on this artificial grass, on this AstroTurf, it will save you more than a tenth every single lap. So honestly, guys, please try to practice this. You want to be braking probably around about 70, 60 meters, somewhere around there. Be sure not to lock up. We're dropping it down into fourth gear, just pretty much kissing the apex. Again, you don't want to ride on this curb. It's a raised curb. It will unsettle the car, so it's better just to stay off it. Fourth gear, get on the power, use up all of this track on corner exit. And from here, it's just a flat run all the way to the end. The only thing you can do is hold it super tight. You can see how close we're staying to that white line on the inside of the track. Hold it tight as you'll come across the line to complete your lap. Now, in terms of lap time, we're expecting a low 106, probably a 106 dead. The world record is a 105.8, and if we do see drivers giving each other slipstream, I would very much be expecting a 105.9 to be coming through, especially from the likes of Christian Sendel, Jan Feiler, Valu, and Vexit. Those McLarens and Red Bulls are phenomenally quick. Sector 1, we're expecting something like a 16.4 sector time. Sector 2, at the end of it, is probably going to be nearly a 50 dead, maybe a 49.9, 49.8. And at the end, as I've already mentioned, we're expecting a 106 dead, maybe a couple of drivers sneaking in to the 105s. Now, if Australia was a track about being able to find the grip in corners, being able to maximize your corner speed, Brazil is a track about getting your corner entries right, being as late on the brakes as you can, and having confidence with that initial turn and getting that initial turn in spot on. If you get that initial turn in right, the rest of the corner will follow, whereas somewhere like Australia, it's all about being able to carry the speed through the corners, whereas here at Brazil, you've got a lot of slow corners followed by short straights into another corner, so the corner exit speed is not as important. Yes, there are still important corners, but I don't feel like they are as hard to get right as those in Australia. So being able to be as late on the brakes as you can here at Brazil is essential. Being able to get that initial turn in right and getting onto the apex nice and early, and then get it slow down with the trail braking, making sure not to lock up your tires. You've got corners like Juncao where you have to ride at the AstroTurf. Very tricky to get that right without locking up as well. The race is going to be this Friday, round 2 of Premier X here at Brazil in Sao Paulo. You don't want to miss it. Pre-show will be starting at 6:30, qualifying at 7. Make sure to put it in your diaries, and if you haven't already, just give a follow on the Twitter at Formula X Racing so that you can stay up to date with everything FXR related. We hope to see you on Friday. It's sure to be an absolutely fantastic race.